I'm so sorry. We figured it out, I think, everybody. We're back. We're back, LG. Thank you so much for being patient with me. This is awesome. I love this. You know what? Let's start over because I need a good edit point. So, um, LG, did you mute yourself?
You hear me
Oh,
now?
okay. I'm so
Hey.
sorry about this. I'm so happy to see that you're at least laughing in the background and not being like, what the fuck? Um, so let's just start. This will be a good edit point for the audio version. Anyways, I asked you, uh, because life is so hectic, how do you manage all your time, especially with all the content that you're putting out into like TikTok and Instagram? I mean, and you're doing well on these platforms, so you're obviously doing something right. You're constantly releasing videos for your music on YouTube, and your YouTube's doing great. So, how do you manage your time to put out all this content that you're just throwing out there right now?
I think the biggest thing is like having designated days for different things.
Mm,
Um, you know, uh, I have something called content days. A lot of influencers do them, which is
mm,
how I got familiar with the concept. And I think it's great. You do a content day. Maybe you invite other people who do a lot of TikTok or Reels for Facebook or Instagram,
mm,
and you guys kind of come up with ideas and just bring your ideas to the table and be like, hey, look, these are the three ideas I have. What do you guys have? And then we kind of all work together to get content done. That way
mm.
we kind of eliminate having to do content every day
Yeah.
and can kind of knock out a few things in one day for the week. And then, I'll have a designated, typically for like Twitch streaming and like live streaming on TikTok or even Instagram. I typically do that daily, maybe 3, 4 times a week.
Wow.
More of a like a winding down thing, like at the end of the day, once I'm home and I'm chilling, I'm like, all right, let me jump on and say what's up to Team Genius, see how they doing. Or on Twitch, we call it FSG gang. That's like first stream gang because I was real new to streaming. And so the people who was there when I first started, I'll jump on and be like, hey, what y'all up to? This is what my day was like. This is what my week's been like. This is what I've been going through. Hey, I'm sorry I haven't been on for a while or whatever might be going on, and just kind of update and touch base with everyone who's been supporting me. Um, but that's mostly how I do it. I mean, like I said, daily on streaming and as far as content, like I said, a designated day. Same thing with studio time, designated days for
Mm.
studio time. And I know like, okay, you got a session this day. So maybe just do some live streaming or you have a session. So maybe just go to an event, but don't do too much because it can get overwhelming. So the best thing is to keep it balanced. So that way
Yeah.
it stays smooth sailing.
Right. I'm trying to do that too. I'm trying to like Tuesdays is the day that I do like all my intros and outros for the audio version of the podcast, and then like Wednesdays are like a release day and get this thing done, get that thing done day. But my God, it's like staying on top of that is just it's a discipline. It really is. Like you really have to stay disciplined in this. Um, you were mentioning that you collaborate with other like influencers, and like I've never been a part of this, but like you were saying, you guys get together. Now I've heard of like people getting together, like doing their TikTok meetups, and now people
Yep.
are on TikTok tours where they're like touring around the country with and meeting up with different influencers. And even in your videos, you bring on influencers. Like, what's that one video you had? This little girl just come out and just break some moves down.
And do my thing.
Yes, do my thing, and she has to be an influencer of some kind. Like that little girl is just killing it.
She is a beast. She's
Yes.
a beast. She's a
So,
full-time dancer,
mm,
actress, and she's just, you know, um, I have to give it up to my choreographer, Derek Strader, who introduced me to her. I
uh,
went first shot, put the work in. And when I met her, I was just like, who is this little girl who just got all this sass and
oh
just,
man.
I mean, everything about her. So I just was like, you know what? I would love to highlight her
Mm,
for a full visual.
yeah.
And that's where I came up with the idea of do my thing.
Mm.
All my visuals I direct them myself.
Oh,
So
that's cool.
I was like,
Are you
how
editing as well?
some stuff, some
Mm.
stuff. Like for example, the YBM behind the scenes, I edited that
Oh
full
wow.
thing.
Wow, that's great work. Great work. So you hired a crew to come out film, you were directing, and then you went home and edited that together. It's great editing technique. Like I read about you in that that you've been sort of doing music since 4, and you were producing and stuff, and I love it. I love to hear artists who not only rap, but they also produce their own music. They're behind their own visuals. They're behind their whole outlook. They're behind, and I get it. It becomes overwhelming, and then once you get to a certain echelon or a certain level in this business, handing off some of the work is kind of it's kind of necessary because you have to focus on creating. But on this grind coming up, and I always respect the people like Kanye West. I know Kanye West gets a lot of shit. I know he does. And well deserved shit. But the man is like he is a genius. There's no doubt about that. He knows how to manipulate a beat, manipulate an audience, like marketing genius. People are paying like $500 for a white T-shirt. You're telling me that this man is an idiot because he was on Trump's team for like 2 minutes? Come on, man. Oh, I just said the Biden. Shut up. Like, God, that's how deep this shit goes. So how do you feel about that when you're talking to other artists, or how do you feel about having sort of this all-in-one package, and why did you sort of pursue it like that instead of sort of going out and concentrating on one practice, one medium, and just being a good lyricist? Because it does, you do get spread thin. Why did you approach it in this way?
I think that those of us who end up being in this position, like that one man band kind of vibe, typically don't purposely do that. I think we all kind of go through different lessons in life, and then we kind of pick up things in different areas. So for me, I was a media design student in high school. I got a full basketball scholarship to college.
Oh, sweet.
And then I picked up a bachelor's of science for media communication. So I won 3 film festivals during my high school and college years. So film was my focus my whole life.
Oh, wow.
And I always did music.
Mhm.
Always did music in the basement. Always had Pro Tools. But I really, really wanted to do, movies and documentaries, and I write scripts. This is a big passion of mine, just writing anything, poetry, scripts, stories, music. It was always writing. And
That's so awesome.
Going to college, that was my focus. And then I got so serious with music, and learning all those programs for editing for film, I feel like really helped me quickly adapt Pro Tools and Reasons, and you know what I mean? So I was able to easily learn to record myself in the dorm rooms and started, cooking up, And so I started back in my basement. My mom got me a Pro Tools Digi Design box,
Yeah.
8. That was way back in the day.
Wow, dude. I started on 6. Don't worry. I started on 6. So, I know how it is.
Bro, I was making I have 1,000 songs, bro. I was making songs in my basement. I was cooking out 8 to 10 songs a day. The audio was left and right. Nothing was equal, nothing was centered. It was a big mess. But I was having a ball.
Right.
I was just, exploring my creativity.
Yes.
And so I think that was the beginning, is kind of just being a part of that age of the new software, being a part of that transition. I started doing video and music all at the same time. And then, going to college, I started throwing parties, which just came from popularity of being on a basketball team. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to perform at my parties.
Hell yeah.
And so I started performing at my parties. So now I'm making money off my parties, and I'm performing, spreading my music. Didn't know that was marketing at the time. No clue.
Yeah, no.
You know what I mean?
That's legit marketing right there. That's how P. Diddy does it, right? He just throws massive parties and has performances, and people come in and check out new performances. Yeah, exactly. And you didn't even realize it. You just seem like you've always had sort of a very a business minded. Have you always been business minded and sort of seeing the bigger picture, or is this something you had to grow into?
I believe that I was definitely business savvy very young. My mom used to put me into a lot of business entrepreneurship programs and stuff. Just like at 14 years old, I was like a part of like entrepreneurship program over the summer where
Mm.
we wrote about business plans and stuff. So like you said, without me noticing, naturally it became kind of a part of how I put things together. Does that make sense?
It does. It does very much. It's weird how like you sort of pick up these different skills over a lifetime, when I feel like it's like when you're on the right path in life, all these skills sort of converge into like exactly exactly what you need where you're at in life. I don't know. Does that sound too woo woo for you? I don't know if you're into that kind of thought process.
I'm 100% um, in tune with that because I feel like um, alignment is
Yeah.
very real,
Mhm.
and I also feel as though everything I went through at different times in my life, I went through different things at different times, allows me to be who I am today and be able to do the things I'm doing at the level I'm doing without feeling overwhelmed, without feeling like it's too much, just because of my previous experiences. And all of those things are just like signs to me, like from the universe, that yo, you're walking in your destiny, you're walking in your purpose. This is what it's for. A lot of people have been congratulating me on the success of YBM's viral moments that is continuing to have. And for me, it's bigger than just a viral moment. It's
Mm.
the fact that it's a viral moment with a song that is pure to who I am and what I believe in. And I feel like for so long, I've been rapping and doing music. And so many people who have good intentions are like, yo, you can write anything. Why don't you do a song for TikTok where they can dance? Or why don't you do a song like this? This is trendy. This is what's working. Or
Mhm.
do a song like that. No, you got to do a song like that because that's what they want to hear.
Yeah.
And it's like, nah, I got to stay true to who I was as a person and do a
Absolutely.
song that really meant something to me. And that was the song that went viral. And to me, that is me walking in my purpose. That is me being aligned with staying true to who I am and allowing that to kind of lead me to where I'm going, you know?
That's beautiful. Yeah, absolutely. And having sort of the skills to back that up, the having like because I was just telling my wife is like right before I came in here, it's like, oh my God, because I've been just editing and just posting and just doing all kinds of crazy stuff all morning leading to this. It's like the 2 hours that I'm on camera is like the least of what I do. And it's so like you have all these skills that you've been able to sort of work into your toolbox, and you have the skills to back up the the timing, because it's what did they say? They say success in this industry is what is it? It's timing and skill, or luck and skill, or something. It's like having the luck, but also having the skill behind it. I don't know, but but it is a true statement where it all sort of converged for you in this thing. I definitely want to talk about YBM because it's such a poignant song to our political and social environment going on right now. Could you sort of explain YBM to people, since we can't really listen to it or watch it, but can you sort of give everyone a sort of a breakdown of what it means to you?
Absolutely. So YBM is the turn up song, the party song, the anthem of the protest, the anthem of the new voices.
That's
When I
amazing,
was
by the way. That's an amazing description, by the way. That's an amazing description.
man, we live in a total different generation. We live in a new world, and I feel like my focus of YBM was Gen Z and was a lot of what we've seen in 2020 on TikTok and on
Mhm.
social media of the new younger kids being so self-aware, being so social aware of these issues, and not recognizing that, wow, wait a minute, like, I've seen kids on TikTok who are like bawling their eyes out because they realize that, wait, I can't talk to my parents about this. They don't understand where I'm coming from. They don't get why I feel like this is unfair. And then I've watched young kids who are much younger than myself when I found out about political standings and different things going on in the world, who are out there with their fists up, with their signs up, with their friends marching or riding on their skateboards or riding on their bikes to bring awareness to extremely serious social issues that have been an issue for a very long time. And that was inspiring to me to see that in 2020, especially during the pandemic. They were fearless, and myself included, being out there, seeing it firsthand in Philadelphia, because I was home visiting family during the pandemic. And, I was out there at the marches there. And then I flew home June 2nd to Los Angeles. And as we're driving back from the airport, I can't even get to my house because the streets are blocked off from protests.
Oh.
So it's like I went from one madness city to another madness city, 3,000 miles away.
Wow.
And all these young people look the same across the country. And I just wanted to make music. This fight is not a short fight. And I think that we are well aware of that more now than ever. And I just wanted to be the music to keep the energy up. I just wanted to make a song that wasn't just a conscious rap song that was just broken down into facts of what the issues are, but a song that actually was a vibe, a song that actually made people want to turn up and enjoy themselves the way Gen Z does. It's a different world, you know? Yeah. There was no songs like WAP 20 years ago. There wasn't the exception of twerking left and right. I mean, you got grandparents twerking on TikTok now, you know what I'm saying? So I wanted to kind of embody the new wave of energy, you know what I mean? Like that acceptance of all in the chorus, and not let it just be so serious and get missed because like it goes over everyone's head, but more or less medicine in the candy, and kind of make it sweet and fun, but yet still very, very fruitful for people to listen to over time and get different parts of it, and then, that extended a lot of what the culture is. And I feel like as an African-American woman and artist, I see our culture have their difficulties where it's like, well, we want people to accept Black when it comes to racial profiling. However, we'll Black shame each other when it comes to something as simple as dance style of twerking, which is an African style that was very historical and very well respected for centuries. Wow. And so I wanted to implicate that in the song by having that twerk moment where it's like, wait, this is like a serious song, yet like she's saying twerk something. And it's like, you know what I mean? A lot of people get it, but I see comments of some people like, wait a minute, so wait, twerk, so I don't get where the twerk part came from. Well, the twerk part is me embodying all of that is the culture, all of that is Black, because it starts with us. Yeah. We can't expect someone else of a different culture to accept Black, and we don't even accept all that is Black.
Yeah.
The ratchet, the fun, the turn up, the dance styles, all of it is still us. Whether it's strip club or sitting at a conference with the Obamas, it's still all our culture. And so it should all be accepted. And so that's what I wanted to embody with YBM, was like the fearlessness of like, yo, I love everything that's Black, the good, the bad, the ugly, because that's where it starts. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because there is like, with the youth today, the youth does get gets a lot of shit for, being oversensitive and sort of being, not being able to handle, I don't know, realities. I don't know how to say it better. But, like, I feel like, with Gen Z, and I've been guilty of this, of sort of being hard on Gen Z, but I feel like when you look at what they have placed in front of them, when you look at jobs, you go to college so you can get in debt to get no job, their options are sort of bleak, these young kids are the suicide rates among youth and teenagers are horrific. I can see where Gen Z is sort of getting caught up in being emotional about these things, because what else do they have to look forward to? What else are they sort of, when I was a kid, like it was like, go to college and everything will be all right, and and baby hit me one more time and all this stuff, and that ended up being kind of a lie. But even worse, it's just getting worse and worse, especially as this sort of this capitalizing of this pandemic is taking place, you know, of governments, of media, of social media, of pharmaceutical companies. Like, they're all sort of smashing us down with just information, misinformation, disinformation. It's just, it's so hard to keep track of what's going on, what's real, what's not. I just absolutely can understand how these kids these days feel just disenfranchised from society. And it's like, why not just fucking twerk at TikTok mansions and go on TikTok tours? What the fuck else is waiting for us? You know? So I don't know. How does that fall in your ears? Like, I don't know if you agree with that. I know that was a big long bleh, but how does that
I feel
fall?
like a lot of these kids are, well, number one, they live in a world that's extremely uncensored compared to how we grew up,
Mm,
compared to how our parents grew up and our grandparents grew up. And
absolutely.
so, you know, my little brother knows, he's 13. He knows about so many things that I never thought about at 13, you
Right,
know?
right.
Um,
Jeez Louise.
he's afraid. He used to be, it's so crazy, the transition. He was, you know, 4, 5, 6 years old, and he wanted to be a police officer. We used to dress him up in cop outfits and uniforms, and he got to meet the commissioner of our city in Philadelphia, and got, you know, all of them signed, all the different hierarchies of the police district in Philadelphia signed this huge board with the pictures of them on it, you know, and they gave him like his own little badge. And like, it was this huge thing for this kid who had this dream of, you know, just protecting and serving. And I watched that transition to him being afraid to get pulled over
Wow.
when he's in the car with my mom, you know,
Yeah.
and it wasn't anything that we told him. You understand what I'm saying? It's the world that is in our phones and in our tablets and in our computers and on our TVs, the media, and, you know, this stuff's going to get pumped out. So if it's going to get pumped out, these kids have to now adjust to this, you know. And it's one thing, you know, in the 90s where it's like you go home and your parents are watching the news and you're like, I'm going to my room and play my video game, jump on the, you know, 64, Nintendo, or
Right,
whatever.
right.
Like, you know, I'm on my Game Boy Color, not paying attention.
Yeah.
It's another thing when it's on your timeline
Right.
between Fortnite
Right.
videos that you want to watch. And so when that is consistently pushed in the face of children,
Yeah.
these are very, you know, undeveloped, extensive minds yet trying to take in all of these things, all of these emotion, all of these emotional views. For example, like YBM and the TikTok that went viral is very powerful, very strong.
Mm.
And I seen how all of a sudden, you know, a huge wave of kids started making videos to it and identifying with it and being like as emotional as adults are reacting to it. You know what I mean? And so this is something, a burden that we've never seen on such a young generation.
Yeah.
This is our first time.
Right.
And this is our first time seeing how that plays out as they get older. And I think that has a lot to do with decisions that are made and the reason why anxiety is higher than before. And, you know, just different things that these kids are going through, trying to kind of grasp the world in front of them in their phone.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and sometimes being able to vocally express that to their parents, and sometimes not, because at the end of the day, this is the first generation of the internet, truly,
Yeah.
whereas everything is the internet from birth. It's like tablet in your face at 1 year old, you know? And so this is the first time. Maybe they'll understand more for their kids, but there's still a lot of parents who don't get it.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of parents and grandparents who don't understand this generation because they're just like, you know, no, you get up, you go to work, you make it happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're used to
Yeah.
a certain way of life.
Mhm.
Yet life is changing.
Yes. Very.
Life
quickly.
is changing. The way of life is changing. And so I feel like, you know, I don't really know how to feel. I just know that I want them to feel heard.
Mm.
And I understand why the movements of Gen Z are so strong and so passionate, because I feel like these kids do feel attacked by other generations and yet feel sorry for other generations because they feel like the other generations are blind and or programmed for the way that they respond to their emotional expression. And so there's a million ways to look at it. The end of the day is the more we communicate, the more we express ourselves, and the more we talk to each other, the more we'll understand. And I think that's really all that matters. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I absolutely agree, and that's one of the things that I disagree with about like cancel culture, and I do think that some people should be eliminated, like that Harvey Weinstein dude. Yeah, get that guy out of here. Bill Cosby, for all the controversy surrounding him, get him out of here. I mean, just I'm sorry, it's like that. It's just not happening. But there are certain artists who are getting censored, who are getting deplatformed, who are getting for things that they said. And there's no discord, there's no talking, there's nothing. It's just shut down and move on, and don't talk to me if you're not agreeing with me. And I do find that to be a little disconcerting, because how do you break barriers by putting up more barriers, if that makes sense.
In control of the cancel culture, though. I feel like that's a responsibility of everyone. It's not just one generation.
Mm,
I see a lot of people tried to cancel Kevin Hart
mm,
because he didn't want to apologize to the Oscars, and I'm pretty sure 90% of the people who were pissed were over 40
yeah,
and Caucasian.
yeah, you're right.
So
It's a lot of millennials
cancel
too.
culture is not necessarily on one generation, it's on everyone.
Hmm.
And cancel culture is something that is developed truly mostly through trolling,
Mm.
which is something that is out of control. Trolling is out of control, okay?
Yeah.
And I never realized how bad it was until I went viral and dealt with 7, 8, 9,000, you know, racist comments, emails, and threats, and DMs, and all types of stuff that I went through in the last 3 weeks to allow me to see, wow, okay, cool, I get it. However, I do feel like I'm ready for it. But again, I notice things. I notice 25, 30 comments in a row, pages with no profile pictures and no follows. And I realized, oh, wait, these are generated.
Yeah.
They're all saying sort of kind of the same thing. They're all kind of, and so I think that also is something that needs to be seriously looked into and controlled and considered federal offenses, where there's people out there with programs that are creating trolls that are creating a lot of tension for different reasons, rather that's LGBT community, race, whatever. A lot of these people who are part of this cancel culture and are victims of the cancel culture are also victims of this trolling
Mm.
manifest that's been happening since truly the Trump administration.
Yeah. No,
That was
that's
when it started.
yeah, absolutely.
That first election was when the trolls became like almost like a legal thing. Like it's okay for them to generate these fake accounts and harass you,
Yeah.
and create so much tension and problems. And that has been the complete downfall of the internet when it comes to like things getting blown out of proportion. A lot of it is not even real.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Those those fake accounts, man. And like, there's like real solid evidence that a lot of that was like foreign players, creating issues within our country, using our social discord against us. And I mean that, and here's the thing, America does that too. Like it's not like we don't do that to other countries. We are in the business of overturning governments for resources, using any means necessary. So the fact that it's being done to us, not to say that I like it, but it's not a surprise. And so I do think that you are hitting on something even more, is like that there are external forces here, and whether it's people from our homeland who are trying to create a discourse or trying to create a wave of hate towards someone, or foreign players, it's like things have gotten so I don't even know how to say it. It's like they've just gotten so out of hand, and there's just so much information. There's just so much different information. Like the other day, I read in Politico that they're going to start censoring our text messages, to stop misinformation for vaccines. And the way the article was written, I think, was very confusing, and it threw a lot of people off. And people were saying, like, people just went nuts and was like, what is this? They're going to start censoring our text messages to stop misinformation. That's insane. And then here's the part that they left out of the fucking article, is that they were talking about, you know how you get mass messages, just mass text messages, whether it's like people soliciting sex or whatever it is, they want to intercept those. And now that's a different thing because no one likes to be spammed on their fucking phone. You know, no one wants some misinformation spammed on their phone. I'm like sitting here like, wait, they're going to like, I'm going to be texting my friend about whatever I feel like. And then all of a sudden, because it might interfere with somebody, like who's making these decisions? And then you find out that it's, you know, that it's a different thing, and it's probably in our best interest, but who knows? You know, like who fucking knows? Because they're still accessing
that's also the issue with journalism right now.
Yeah.
You know, the misread of the headlines and the titles, and you know, everyone's kind of trying to get a, you know, clickbait, and so it's like clickbait is also becoming a huge part of misinformation. Because the titles are just not truly what the story is about. And most people, like you said, are getting hit left and right with content. So they're not sitting there reading the full story. They're reading the title in the first 2-3 lines, or the summary under the caption and the photo. And then it says, hit the link in our bio to read the rest of the story. And they never do. And so that causes a lot of misinformation. However, those emails, those mass text messages are a pain in the butt. I'll be like, how did they get my number? I get so many mass text messages from just like fake companies or whatever it is. I never click them, but I'm like, how did they get my number? And I'm very particular about where I put my phone number and things like that. So I think that is something they need to look into. I mean, that's something that definitely aggravates me, for sure.
Exactly. No, my wife is constantly getting solicited for like, you know, sexual things. So it's like, where are these people coming from? And it's like group messages and people are going nuts, like, stop texting me. It's horrible. It's horrible. So I can see like maybe they do need to put a stop to that. And you know, you mentioned the media and the clicks and the clickbaits and like, you know, I know that there's a real issue here in America, probably all over the world, in regards to race and racism and bigotry and you know, especially for people who, you know, like LGBT and just, you know, I know our country is rife with assholes, but how much do you think is manufactured through media in this sort of new clickbait age? Do you think a lot of this is overblown, or do you think it's right on? They're hitting it right on the head.
I think it depends on the situation. I think it's hit or miss. I think sometimes they do hit it on the head and it's like, whoa, this needs to be
right.
We recognize this. We never recognized this before.
Right.
And then other times it's a whirlwind of trouble, and it's a whirlwind of, I think that the political game activated something in and not just media, but just in entertainment. Mm-hmm. And so it was like, oh, like they use these political strategies that they see and work for, you know, different administrations, and go, okay, that worked to make this person look like a terrible person, and then no one voted for that person. So we could do that when we have beef with this person. And now you got these huge mega artists or labels or whoever have you with, you know, PR teams or whatever is doing this, and they're working the system the same way political people have worked the system, you know. And then it's like, okay, now there's an internet beef, and all of a sudden there's mad memes about this one person. Who created them? Oh, it's memes on TikTok, on Twitter. No, on Twitter. No, who uses Twitter? I don't use Twitter. Who uses Twitter? Whatever. I've never seen a person in my life use Twitter, but whatever. Oh, it's going viral on Twitter. All these people are posting about it on Twitter. Are they? Or is there just a team of 7 people making mad memes and having you guys ship, you know, get them out to all the blogs to promote this one person and this negative view, or to promote this one thing that's going to promote this single and this, you know what I mean, and this beef. And so I think that the awareness of like when you're being played is something that, number one, we're all starting to pay attention to as well, but it's very obvious in a lot of these situations. And so that's why I say sometimes it's hit or miss, because sometimes there's real people behind those accounts who are truly recognizing like, yo, wait a minute, did you guys see the documentary on this? This sounds like something we should be paying attention to. And other times it's kind of like, well, so-and-so is terrible. Look at everybody on Twitter talking about how awful this performance was. And it's because apparently they cheated on so-and-so. And like, these are people's lives at stake, you know, like, and it's like, we're all doing it for a story in journalism, truly.
Yeah.
And so, or a beef or a promotion for a
Right.
song.
Well, but then if you go and look at like, you know, like just I don't know, like the way that the media is sort of, when you look at how the media is working right now, and how bad like these mainstream media institutions are eating shit right now, because especially after the election, like people are just so exhausted from this last election and this last 4 fucking years. It was just a fucking nightmare. So it's like, you know, people are sort of tuning out of that, and so these companies constantly need to be generating, these news organizations constantly need to be constantly need information or news that gets people to click on these, on their links, and that's how they make money, because they're not selling newspapers. And MSNBC had, what, on their best night of the week on a Saturday, gets 60,000 viewers. Fucking you get more views than than fucking CNN and MSNBC. So it's like they're dying, and so in the process of their death throes, I feel like they're actually adding fuel to these flames. And especially because when it bleeds, it reads. You know, like that's an old saying in the press field. So I do, you know, again, I definitely want to recognize that there is definitely some fuckery with how people view people of color, LGBTQ community. But then I also think that it's sort of pushed further with media and with how they represent it. And how, and again, I go back to how they'll censor information, to leave out information, just to sort of paint a narrative. And then again, you go, if you question this narrative, now you're an asshole. Now you're racist. Now you're a Trump supporter. Now you're this. Now you're that. And there's no discord. There's no talking. It's just like, click on this, believe this, or you're wrong, or worse. You know. So, I mean, I don't even know how we get out of this at this point. But I mean, do you agree with that, or do you think I'm just crazy? I
I
mean,
feel like there's a lot of false narratives amongst all news media.
mm,
I think that there's been false narrative amongst African American and LGBT communities since the beginning of time.
for sure.
And now that affecting other cultures, it's really an issue. So I do believe that there's a lot of people, from a lot of the feedback that I get just from my posts and stuff, who, just like you say, might say, well, yeah, I get this, but what about this? Or like, I see a lot of that. And a lot of people like, well, this headline is not absolutely true. Or like, kind of like they feel like the headlines and stuff are fueling, like you said, like racial tension and things like that. Rather it be good or bad for whatever the situation is, it is bringing light to it. However, I also feel like the usage of false narratives is not new. It's been something that have since Emmett Till has been a problem. For example, reason why Juneteenth is a holiday this year is because there was Caucasians who burnt down the blacks' Wall Street and destroyed thousands and thousands of businesses and families and murdered thousands of people in 2-3 days. And it said, oh, there was a riot and 2 people were shot, as the headline. Well, that's false information. That's not true. That's misleading. And that's what America did for a very long time. So it's not a new thing. I think that it's just affecting everyone else now, and not just one group. And so everyone's more aware of it. But it used to just affect one group, or, LGBT, or just that, but now that it affects, a straight white male, or a straight white woman, or Karen, oh, it's so bad. Oh, it's so terrible. And so, so now, but I'm okay with that, because it's bringing up the topic of discussion. And eventually the point is for everyone to be aware of this type of thing. And I believe that Gen Z, or the future, generations to come, whoever they may be, whatever the name might be in a few years, will be the ones to be able to sort it out, because they, again, won't be as programmed to a certain understanding of what America should be or look like. It is whatever we make it together, you know?
Yeah, Eddie Styles says, divide and conquer, baby. Push people further into extremism. Get people to hate, fear each other. Us versus them, tribalism. Yeah, I mean, I feel that most of the racial issues in the world could be traced back to imperialism and colonialism, and I agree with that. There's nowhere to hide now. It used to be easy to deny, ignore, and deflect. Yeah, absolutely, and that was the one that was. That's what I liked about the BLM movement, and because they were highlighting these things that were happening for years and years, and now that people can't deny it now. There's cell phones, and I love that line, by the way. It's like the cell phone caught it, but the body cam died, or I don't know. I always get words wrong, but I love that. I
Cell
love
phones caught it, but the body cam died.
yeah, it's just like there's no hiding behind anything right now. So it's I forgot my point. Whatever. Whatever. Yeah, we're talking about real serious things. Whatever. God, I'm such a dick. There's nowhere to hide. Okay, if people are still blind today, it's because they're choosing to be ignorant. Yeah, there's plenty of information out there, but what's weird is that there are people out there. There are people out there who really generally are ignorant, who don't have access to the internet. That don't. I'm not making excuses for ignorance. I'm saying that there are people out there, and the biggest thing is to sort of have an open ear about these things, because you don't know where people are coming from. You don't know what their past is. You don't know what they're made up of, and again, I keep going back to the idea of shutting down the conversation. And it's like, I really liked what BLM was doing. But then again, it went to a point and then sort of like fell back. Like, I would have loved to see BLM marching in these neighborhoods, demanding, funding for schools, demanding the right, like, to rebuild these communities, because we have there's histories, there's scars and in the history of America, where you have the redlining, you have just all these policies, all these gerrymandering to sort of to redirect funding, and these inner city communities just crumble. And the schools are falling apart. I would have loved to see BLM go and march for that, march for for better funding. And I just
Why is that BLM's responsibility?
well,
Why is that?
because I was getting to my point here. Because what I saw BLM do is sort of go and demand defunding police, and then the outcome of that was now crime is up 40% in all these major cities. And where's BLM now? And then
That's false.
is that, well, I know that there's still
Crime is not up because of them defunding the police. Most of those cities did not defund the police yet. Those things are not in effect. Crime is up because
Minnesota though.
I'm sorry, I just didn't want to put a false narrative out there.
Okay, fair enough. But you have to admit that if there is less police and there's no one to sort of monitor what's going on, and I know it's the pandemic, and I'm not saying it's one race or another. I'm saying, yeah, Portland's homicides are up 800%. I'm just saying there is who's protecting people if no one's protecting themselves, because obviously no one's protecting themselves. Like, people are, 800% is a lot. So, I mean, I'm not going to put it all on BLM. I'm not trying to blame BLM for this or that. I'm just trying to say that I would have liked to see it kind of push a little further, and maybe
I would like to see the KKK walk and march for school districts too. I would like to see the neo-Nazis that were out there on the streets in Philadelphia just last week with their guns out, who didn't get tear gassed, who didn't get, because make sure you remind yourself that when you ask these people to go out there and march, that they're getting tear gassed.
Right. They're in danger of dying,
getting shot with rubber bullets, and they're getting tackled and beat up and arrested, which I have yet to see any KKK march turn out that way, even though many people have been killed in these situations, or neo-Nazi situations turn out that way. I think it's interesting when we ask the Black community to do all the work. And I think that we've done that for so long that it becomes a norm.
Yeah, okay.
The Black Lives Matter is responsible for changing the school districts. The Black Lives Matter is responsible for getting the crime down and the murder rate. Yet there is only 16% African Americans in this country. And out of 16%, about 4% of them are incarcerated. And out of that 12% that's remaining, about 3% of them don't even have the right to vote because they have a felony. So like, you know, when you get into the numbers, how many people is left to do all this work? And how many times do we have to worry about our children and our family and our fathers being hurt or killed during the time that they take these chances with their life to go out there and stand for a cause? And that's what I respect about the white people who have been out there with Black Lives Matter, because it takes more than one color to make it happen. And I think this is the consistent repeat. Why did no one ask the KKK to go march for education?
Well, because
Why
we
is
know where
Black Lives Matter? No.
Okay.
They're compared to be the same thing, the extreme of the opposite, right?
I wouldn't say
I'm
that.
talking about for
Sure,
media.
Please, go ahead. It's on you.
Why All Lives Matter can't march for the schools? Let's say All Lives Matter, for example. Why isn't All Lives Matter out there marching for a new program to help interfere with domestic crime, where we don't need cops to come and do extreme force and shoot down 16-year-olds like, you know, Ma'Khia Bryant, who was fighting for her life and yet was not able to tell her story because she was shot 4 times before she could explain what was happening, or before anyone could say what was happening. The extreme force, yet we can watch people go into a church and kill 9 people and come out unharmed. I'm trying to figure out why we think it belongs on our backs, African Americans or indigenous people. It's not our responsibility. It's America's problem. It's everyone's problem. You can take the people in the suburbs that surround the 16 blocks of violence and have them come down and fight for the school districts, and have them come down and fight for the police brutality, but they don't. They sit behind the computer and they say, why aren't we doing it? Why aren't we doing it? Why are we doing it? Because our kids are getting arrested, because our kids they don't have their lack thereof. They don't have what they need to keep doing this and getting tear gassed when they probably don't even have insurance at the hospital to get something for their eyes afterwards. A lot of my friends being that. So when you see it from within and you see how it affects the neighborhoods that these riots take place in, and these businesses that get destroyed, and these areas that get destroyed, in the midst of the frustration and anger and anxiety that these new kids and these millennials also have, it's very easy to see how it's one-sided, and it's how it's kind of all left up to us to make it better. And everyone else is kind of just sitting back like, well, let's see how this turns out. I support from here.
Yeah, Twitter activists.
You feel me? So
No,
I just want to make sure we put out the narratives, the fact that like there's been a lot of work done. When George Floyd was murdered on camera for 9 minutes, there was a lot of people who went out there and risked their lives. And I think that's the part that they don't highlight, is that when you go to protest, you are risking your life. You are risking your freedom. And it's very easy to ask African Americans to do it, just like they did in the Civil War. Go risk your life for us. But I also feel like we need to highlight the fact that it's not just one person's fight. Yes, it is about one issue, one of the many issues, but yet it's an everybody problem, because as the generations continue to melt together, there's a lot of Black and white parents, like Dante White's family, where he has a white mother and a Black father and was killed by a white Caucasian police officer as well, in a quick over-enforced situation, just like many others that happens to people of color. These are the things that people are starting to realize. There's grandparents with Black grandkids who, you know, go into different areas to party or hang with their friends, or maybe they just live in those areas and get into situations where they're profiled and no one even knows that their grandparents white. This changes the narrative. The fact that we are melting together, we're merging together as a country. There's a lot more mixed children. This generation is the mixed generation, the most mixed generation I've seen. My little brother included, myself included.
Beautiful.
I'm Italian, Native American, and Black.
It's beautiful.
I'm not just Black, you know? So
I'm half Mexican. Look at that.
Out there. You know what I mean? But it's like, we need more eyes on it. And I think we need more support, because when do we get a day off?
Yeah.
When do we get a day off, So I just want, just be empathetic to that. Not even empathetic because they don't want your empathy, but I'd say aware of what we ask of certain movements that are also held by, ran by people whose life are in danger. There's so many BLM, or just not even BLM. There's also Freedom Change. There's a couple other. There's not just BLM.
Right.
There's a handful of African American police brutality focus groups. Also, like just Black communities or Indigenous community folks out there who are fighting for rights and awareness, and their lives are in danger. They get followed home by drones. They get threats and emails like I do just for my one song. I'm not even an activist. I'm an activist in my own right, but that's not my main thing. I'm an artist, and I'm getting those threats and emails, and it's only been 3 weeks. So I could imagine people who've been doing it for months or a year, how dangerous it is for them. So just be aware of what it takes to ask people to put this on their back and add that burden on their life, because it's just as scary as being a police officer out there riding through the streets. You never know what's going to happen. You never know what you're going to walk up into. You never know, the day someone's going to plot against you. You never know if your children are safe. You just.
Oh no. Oh no. No. Dang it. That sucks. No. Well, this was heating up, right? I know. Let me see. She has to bounce in 20 minutes. I know what's happening. I hate this. Let me see. Here, let me switch screens real quick and talk to her and see if I can. Oh, she's coming back. She's back. Everybody. Everybody was scared there for a second.
I got you. Oh yeah, I'm back. Here we go. I don't know what happened, but it's fine.
Yeah, we're back. No, and thank you so much for going through that, and thank you so much for explaining that and sort of giving me a sort of a new light on it. The only reason why I bring that up is because even as you were mentioning these riots that were surrounding the BLM movement, and then the big ask, which did, there are certain cities in this country that did sort of listen, and like Minnesota, for instance. And it was already stated, Portland crime is up 800%. I only brought that up because BLM went into these communities, and because of the times, violence broke out, and they're asking for the defunding of police. But then a year later, you have all this crime rising, and I won't put it all on BLM or anything, but that's why I bring it up, and that's why when you were talking about KKK members marching for school districts, it's like they're white. Their school districts are probably fine anyways, right? Like they're assholes. Like, oh, like the problem is that they came into these different neighborhoods. A lot of things got burnt down, and then they left. And I know they're still out there marching, and they're doing good work. And it's not just BLM, and I'm not trying to put it all on BLM. But BLM was the biggest and most noted.
But BLM also came in March for police brutality.
Right.
That was their focus.
Of course.
A lot of the fires and riots that started by white Caucasians in the crowd, Antifa, left-wing extremists,
and
that
right-wing.
Has been proven, but no one's talking about them. But these are the things that have continuously infiltrated Blacks trying to make a point.
Right.
Is always some sort of other group infiltrating African Americans protests, and then we'll get blamed for it, or it's just thrown in there like, Black Lives Matter did marches and now their communities are burned down. Is that what that's the end of it?
Well,
no, it's a lot deeper than that, but we don't want to break it down like that. I just want to remember the fact that, pay attention to the fact that they came to march for police brutality. That was their focus. If we want better schools, then there needs to be a group that does that. They can't do it all. you
No, no,
know?
no.
And so
And
I
it's
don't
not
think that
just better
we have
schools.
the right to say that it's our responsibility as Black Lives Matter or any activist group to fight for the other things when the school districts of these different areas are ran by also white people and Black people of color and mixed people of that area. They could be putting together protests. They could be putting together, strikes to get more money, which I personally see a lot in Philadelphia. So I'm not sure about every different area. However, I do know in Philadelphia, there's been a lot of defunding the schools way long before defunding the police.
For sure.
And that's our point. Is like we defund the schools every single year,
And that's
but we
bullshit.
say, can we defund the police so that we can, and we're leaving out the part that we're saying defund the police and create a program for domestic violence.
Yeah, and more than just domestic
For
violence.
less force, for less force.
It was a bad marketing tool. It was a bad marketing tool. That's all. No.
No. Listen to what I'm saying.
I am
mediators for the community that can come out and say, listen, this is what's going on to the officers before they go in and shoot and kill someone's kid because they called and said, hey, my kid is having a mental breakdown. Can you please come? I don't want them to hurt themselves for me because they're emotional.
Yeah.
And then they come and they shoot and kill Walter Wallace in Philadelphia in front of his mom. 17 times they shot this kid because he had a knife and he was 10 feet away from him. That is what Black Lives Matter is talking about. That is what we're not paying attention to. That is what pisses me off. And that's what Gen Z is talking about. That should be the focus. Why did this kid get shot 17 times in front of his mom after his mom screamed to the police, please don't hurt my son. He's going through a mental breakdown. We need help. They could have tased him. They could have maced him. They killed him in front of the entire neighborhood. Now, all these kids that were out there, because it was a big group, are traumatized. They got to see a dead body in the middle of the street, bleeding out, a mama crying over the body, all because we called for help from the police and said, could you help us, please? This kid is going through a mental thing. That's what we mean by defunding the police. And that is all we mean. We don't mean for crime rates to go up. Crime rates are going up because of all the people who bought guns, which is their right. Because the most guns ever was sold during the pandemic.
Yeah, that was funny.
There has been a 2-year time frame of absolutely no structure for youth in the inner cities because they have not been in school. So for centuries, there has been structure. You go to school, you get into extracurricular activities. You go somewhere where you can get your energy out and you run around and you do something good with your time and your energy as a kid. Gone. So now these kids are outside and these kids are outside with nothing to do. You know why? Because in the inner cities, the basketball courts are closed. The rec centers are closed. The pools are closed. In the Santa Monica in Los Angeles over here, they were still open. But in Los Angeles, in the inner cities, I live in the city, I seen all the basketball courts closed. So just recently, they closed it until we opened up fully. But Santa Monica was open. Those kids can still play.
Oh yeah, there was some bullshit.
These are the slants of where it's like, well, yeah, the suburbs, they're still kind of able to do things, but inner cities, because of population and how many people there is and the dangers of COVID, which also affect a lot of the African American community, these kids can't play.
Yeah.
So what are they doing? They're outside, they're getting in trouble, they're doing whatever. You know what I mean? And so that's all I'm saying is like, don't just say one thing and say, look at how this happened after this. Well, there's so much in between.
Of course.
And just like a headline on a page, don't be a headline because it's dangerous.
Well, that's why I wanted to. Well, that's why we're talking.
Run with that narrative, you know what I mean, and be like, "Oh."
But that's not something I go out and just, I'm going off of just because I know that there is controversy surrounding this company. They seem to be a company now that the leaders are living in Topanga Canyon, but Cartagena says, why not also focus on black and black crime, which causes far more deaths and trauma?
What is black on black crime? That doesn't exist.
Can you explain
black
yourself?
Black crime doesn't exist. It's not a real thing. White on white crime exists.
How can you explain that?
That doesn't exist either.
Oh, it
so
exists.
black on black crime is not a real thing. It's something that was used for people to literally use in this matter of profiling. Black on black crime. It's not real. It's just crime. In America, we have crime across America. When a white man kills another white man, they don't say that's white on white crime. Black on black crime is a narrative. It does not exist. You want to know why? Because when you go into these neighborhoods, if you ever been, you'll see that not all these people who are engaged in violence are all Black. Some of them are Mexican. Some of them are Asian and Korean or Filipino. Some of them are just mixed. So Black on black crime does not exist. It's not a real thing. It's something that they use to try to say, oh, look at the Black community. They're violent. This is why we go in with so much extensive force. And yet the people who mention the words Black on black crime out their mouths never lived in our neighborhoods, so they wouldn't know.
I'm guessing
Cartagena
So
unless you lived in a Black neighborhood, Black on black crime shouldn't even come out your mouth. Well, because you don't know what it really means.
Okay, let me just stop you just for a second. First of all, I did grow up in the hood. In the hood.
What do you consider the hood? What area?
South Toledo, Toledo, Ohio. It's in the Midwest. It's inner city.
In Ohio.
It's I mean it's as shitty as it gets. In this neighborhood.
I've lived in white neighborhoods too. You know.
Yeah, I mean me too, obviously. But
there was a lot of white on white violence there.
Yeah, but here's the thing also is that and by the way, Cartagena is I'm pretty sure he grew up in it, and also he has I'm pretty sure he's melanated as well.
Better than to say black crime.
But when you look at statistics, and I know I saw you Holden saying how statistics are skewed, when you do look at statistics and you see minorities do tend to kill the most minority. When murder goes down, when murder is happening in these communities, whites kill the most whites, Mexicans kill the most Mexicans, Blacks kill the most Blacks. So there are actual numbers and data that sort of back up. Now, whether you want to call it Black on black or Mexican on Mexican crime, I guess that's just you, however you want to use those words. But
it's just crime.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't make a difference. It doesn't have anything to do with why people are fighting.
But I think it does. And I think it does because of how these neighborhoods are constructed, how the scars of time have sort of created these neighborhoods that sort of encase people in these situations. And in the defunding of the schools and the gerrymandering of lines, I do think that this is sort of history, the scars of history bubbling up.
The people who are on camera getting killed by police are not the ones that are violent. That's the problem.
Well, George Floyd was a violent criminal.
He wasn't violent. He wasn't
not
there
at the moment,
killing
but,
a man.
No, you're right.
He wasn't there killing. Hold on.
Okay.
Who cares what type of person he was?
I agree.
He committed.
But you said he wasn't violent. That's all I'm saying.
He wasn't violent. On that video that I saw.
Yeah, you're right.
He wasn't violent.
I'm sorry, he even said it.
He was like, "Yo, could you like? What did I do? What's wrong?" So look, no, listen to what I'm saying. Before you talk about a man that's dead who can't defend himself.
Hey, hold on.
Listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying, but to deny the fact that he wasn't a criminal is disingenuous.
Hold on, time out.
He doesn't deserve to die. He didn't deserve to die. He does not deserve to die.
Hold on, time out. Why are we talking about him being a criminal?
Because that's the reason why he was stopped in the the place. It was because
they said he had counterfeit $20.
Exactly. And he didn't deserve to die. He did not deserve to die.
He deserved to be choked.
No, not at all.
9 minutes.
No. You put that in my. You're saying that.
Or do we have to go through the list of the scammers of Caucasians in this company?
I'm not saying that.
Talk about money scamming.
I'm not saying
only white people gonna be the ones to get away with that. So we don't want to go there when we talk about money scamming because we got how many.
We're not talking about money scamming. We're not. You're changing the subject. You're changing the subject.
We're not talking about their crimes.
Okay, fair enough. We're talking about they do not deserve to die. It's bullshit.
Black lives matter.
I just want you to know that I think it's bullshit that he died. Look, you're
Black lives.
LG, you're talking louder. You're talking louder instead of having a conversation. And I want to have a conversation with you. And I want you to know that I do agree.
Being offensive, bro. You're being offensive. You're gonna say
Am I being offensive?
Oh, George, I'm in the middle of talking, and you're like, George Floyd we're not gonna say he's not violent. That's not my point. My point is that when these offenses, this is why I said de-escalate domestic violent crimes, because the problem is we're confusing gangbangers and street crime and drug wars with innocent Black men who are doing regular things, living their lives in traffic stops like Sandra Blonde, or sleeping in their bed like Breonna Taylor, and we're mixing the two up. We're playing with a toy gun, which you're more allowed to buy from a store in the yard, like Tamar Rice, who's 12 years old, got shot down by the police. These are the situations where we say, where does the line get crossed? Where does the boundaries end? Do we say because there's crime and there's gangbangers and there's drug dealers that all Black men who are are doing something suspect should be killed or use extensive force whenever we're encountered by police? No, that's the issue. The same type of crimes created in white neighborhoods, people are not dying over. Now, if there's white mobsters and there's a shootout, no, I understand. I get it. I get that. But if there's a white kid with a fake toy gun, he's not getting shot down by the police. It's just not happening.
I agree with you.
That's what we want to change.
And
that's all. All that other stuff is BS.
But I just want you to know that I agree with what you were saying. Like, I agree that police need to fucking be held accountable. I agree that fucking asshole should be in prison and getting fucked over, however, in the worst ways. He's a piece of shit, and I hope he fucking dies in that place. I'm not saying, like, here's the problem is that you created this whole narrative, and I think the thing is that we agree with each other. I just said the wrong thing at the wrong time. I do agree with you that the police need to be, but the police do need to be.
Talk about who he was as a man at all, because who he was as a man had nothing to do with why he was killed. And that is the issue. The people who think they're helping us are making it worse, because they're still putting out a narrative for some redneck to use to say it's the same thing. The reason why it really got under my skin is because so many people commented that on YBM. Oh. So many people commented that and followed up with black on black crime, though. You guys kill each other way more. Oh, he deserved to die because he was violent. He was a criminal. Don't break crime. You won't get killed.
I didn't say that, though. I didn't say that.
You don't even understand how disgusting it made me feel inside to hear you say that out your mouth and for you to say you're an ally. That is the confusion, that you guys continue to mix in the two emotions and confuse the fact that we're not focusing on this man who in his life. He might have made mistakes in his life. He might have committed crimes just like everyone else. I've committed crimes. Yeah. I've gotten car tickets. I've been arrested. Some shit I didn't even do, but I just said I was guilty because I didn't want to get in trouble. I'm a college graduate. I pay my taxes. I'm a business owner. I'm an artist. I don't deserve to die.
I agree.
I don't want to be killed by police or someone to say that I was a criminal because I made mistakes 10 years ago that I haven't done in a long time. Because I got into a fight at school because I was being picked on, and then they locked me up and said I was a criminal. These are the things that desensitize the violence that we deal with in our communities by police brutality. I just want to make sure we can stop putting the war on drugs and the gangbangers with the innocent lives that are being killed by police, because 90% of those cases that make the news, that make the headlines, are outrageous because the people who were hurt in them did not deserve to have that much force used against them at that time. I'm not saying that there's not millions of other cases that we do not argue about where their people are violent, they have guns, and they're shooting at the police. There's a shootout, and that's why they got killed by the police. No one's arguing about those cases. We're saying the people who are unarmed, handcuffed, 6 cops, 4 cops, 2 cops, whatever, they're clearly not a danger to these cops, are getting killed, getting taken away from their families, getting taken away from their children, getting taken away from their mothers. Why is this the norm? Why is the same situations being de-escalated in white communities, but become a murder scene for Black communities in situations where it does not need to be that much force? And so we need to defund the billions of dollars we're giving to these people who are just out here on a freaking on an ego trip, because I just watched a recent video yesterday of cops in Philadelphia. They were black cops. So we're not saying this is just a white cop problem, but there's also Black cops who abuse their power.
Of course.
These cops were also harassing these young kids, and one of the kids is a really funny, he's a comedian, he blew up on TikTok, super innocent, like super sweet kid. And he's just like, hey, he's clearly terrified. The cops got their guns out. and they ran a stop sign. And he's just like scared. And the cop's like, put your phone down. He's like, I'm just recording because I'm scared. And the cop smacked his phone out of his hand. This is all on the internet now. And it was just like, put your phone down. Okay. He's like, I'm sorry, bro. He's like, I'm not your bro. Like this guilt, just on a freaking power trip.
Mm-hmm.
This just happened 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Why is that type of force? Their guns are out on these 16, 17, 8-year-olds in this car.
Yeah.
And it's like, that type of force is how little things happen. And all of a sudden, bullets is flying. And now kids are killed by police. And now there's a story on the news. The kids ain't have no guns in the car. They was good school kids. They had straight A's, whatever, comedians on TikTok. That fast is a bad story, you know? So I just want to make sure we don't go highlighting people's past that can't defend themselves as an excuse for why we feel anyway, because that has nothing to do with what the cops did. The cops signed a paperwork and signed up for a job and put a badge on and decided to work for the people. But they're just not working for all the people all the time. And there is good cops out there. I say that all the time. I have cop friends, all of that, family members that are cops. But it's the situations like George Floyd and like Tamar Rice and like Mike Brown. And just like there's situations where it's like that person could be alive today. And no one else realizes that affected 25, 30 people that were in that person's family.
Yeah, a whole community.
You know what I'm saying? And the whole community might be affected in the moment because everybody moves on, but the family forever will be affected. And so when it happens over and over again, times 30 family members, that affects a lot of our community. We ain't the biggest numbers in this country. That's all we're saying.
So you're saying, and this is from Cartagena chat, he's saying, so you're saying BLM is a single issue organization focused on use of force, same as Second Amendment activists only focused on gun rights. Not sure.
I'm not saying that because I'm not part of BLM per se. I respect what BLM does. I'm a part of, fighting for what's right in the Black community, in the indigenous people community, and LGBT community. I fight for all of those things. I feel like Black Lives Matter's focus last year was police brutality because of the stir up of anger from George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, and also the young man who was jogging, who was killed by an ex-police officer who was not an officer. And there's a lot of instances like that we don't mention where white Americans, or Mexican American, we call them white Mexican Americans, like Zimmerman, who also kill Black unarmed people and feel like they are validated because there's this perception of Black crime, Black on Black crime, Black violence. And so they see a Black person in their neighborhoods and think, oh, we have to be on guard because this Black kid's walking down the street with his hoodie on, and then they kill an innocent person. And they're not even authorities. But because of the notion of this, we have the right to protect ourselves against Black crime or Black violence. These situations happen too often. I've never in my life heard a Black neighborhood person, rather than neighborhood watch, or ex-police officer or ex-military shooting and killing a white person in their neighborhood because they felt threatened. And so my focus when I speak is, why do we feel so threatened? Right? That's the part where we gotta desensitize how we look at Black men. They're under attack. Black women. When I raise my voice and say, no, that's not right, people get intimidated because I'm Black. And so that is why we have it. But yeah, we can watch The View and these white women can yell and scream, but no one's intimidated by them because they're white women. You understand what I'm saying? So we need to desensitize that for everyone. And that will help us understand, look, these situations that are heightened don't need to be there. If you're not scared, you would understand that. But most of you guys are scared. And that's what caused.
Well, I just want, So just so you know a little bit about my own personal experience, my son is black, my wife is black, I'm half Mexican, I grew up in the hood, like fucking, I'm well aware of these things, and I don't want you to think that I'm just some peckerwood out here fucking just giving you a hard time, because I agree with most of what you're saying, and I did not mean to offend you by bringing up his criminal past at all, like that wasn't my intention, but
What was your
my intention was to draw the point that he was in handcuffs for a reason,
what
and
was the reason in handcuffs?
for passing a fake bill. We
Did they prove that?
I don't know, but the thing was is that
But you
that's why
just
he
said
was.
that it was your look, you just said it, but you didn't look into it. Did anybody ever
Okay,
find
so
this?
was there a fake? But I am
Was
saying,
there, I'm
but
asking
he
you.
was
You
a
said
reason.
it. I didn't say it.
Okay, let's look it up. Let's Google it.
Let's look it up. Did,
Ugh.
did they put it in the evidence? Is it in evidence? Did they show it in court and say, hey, this is why the cop was there? This is the $20 bill that was fake.
I
I've never
didn't.
seen it in video or anything.
Let's look it up. And like that's the thing. It's like cops were called. He did not deserve to die. I'm glad that fucking asshole's rotting in prison. I'm not here. I'm not here trying to defend any of the actions that were taking place that day. I'm only saying that there was a reason that he ended up in handcuffs. Everything after that was fucking totally egregious, and I fucking found it disgusting. And it was
But
like,
you're saying that there was a reason he ended up in handcuffs, but you have absolutely no knowledge of the proof.
okay,
This
so
is our issue with
why
America. This is our
was
issue with headlines, and this is our issues with trolls. And it's sometimes
was
it's the people who are trying to do the good things who also are part of the problem because they are not investigating it themselves. They're being told by the news headlines, this is what happened, and we're believing it.
hold on.
So I would like to see the counterfeit bill or proof of it, and then
Okay,
I'll
so
feel better.
here's Google.
Since we're mentioning it,
Here's Google. He was murdered while being arrested on suspicion of using a counterfeit $20 bill. This is Google, and can't take Google for shit because Google censors information to fit narratives. So there. I mean, for just basic sense, he was under suspicion of using it, and that's why he was in handcuffs. So that was the only reason. Okay, that was the only. I'm sorry. I see Eddie is writing a big old paragraph here, and I do want to read it, Eddie. But that's the only reason why I brought it up. I wasn't trying to say that George Floyd deserved to die because he made fucking mistakes in his life, and mistakes that he was born into. Not calling him a mistake, but like the fact that he was born into a situation where you don't have footing in the first place, and then having a life to have to live through that. Like that. That's what I'm saying. These neighborhoods get neglected, and they're just the people there, the schools, and everything just get neglected and left to their own devices. And how are people expected to come out of that when you do see trauma every day, when you are seeing these horrific things every day in the streets? Gunshots and shit. I remember as a kid hearing gunshots down the street. Like that was normal for us. So it's coming out of those neighborhoods, it's hard. You're traumatized, and so you can kind of see how people can lead a path that's not so righteous and get caught using a counterfeit $20 bill or suspected of it. So again, this is not a reason for a man to die. That's a horrible thing. It's horrifying. It was a horrifying thing to see. But Eddie Styles says, getting us to focus on skin color is how they are dividing and conquering us. Instead of directly focusing on the police brutality, injustice, etc., they are splitting us into two factions, those who think skin tone shouldn't matter and those who believe it does matter. They did this back in the 50s, and now it's happening all over again. People are falling for the racism, skin tone, identity, obsession thing again. Because the truth is, it's happening to people of all skin colors. So united, we are strong. Divided into skin tones, we are weak. And that's an interesting point. Please, what do you have a retort?
I like what he said. I agree with that. And again, that's why I get so riled up about certain things, because it's very important that we are aware of what we put out there and what we say, because people will run with our words and use them against us.
And I appreciate you, I do appreciate you taking me to task too, because if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And I want to be, I don't want to be out there fucking saying bullshit and dumb shit. And so if I am wrong, and I appreciate that you stuck in it, and that we're still talking, and that you didn't just end the conversation and walk away. So I really appreciate that. Behind the Suit says it's kind of like young people be like, yo, old people, why are you holding on to the past? It's racist and kind of bad. Then others are like, nah, it wasn't me. I didn't do anything. I'm not racist. Things don't need to change. Friends is a show for everyone. Shut the fuck up. Friends is a show for everyone. Like, there are factions, but there's a huge age divide on that. Nostalgia has been very weaponized. So when you think of like Kendi, man, I know I'm reading his book right now. That what's his full name? Do you know who I'm talking about? Kendi. He's a professor, and he especially on critical race theory. We're talking about skin tones and focusing on it. And there's a part in his writing. Oh my God, Pizza Jam, what's going on, buddy? Welcome in. Thank you for the one-man raid, my friend. We're talking to LG, amazing and incredible lyrical genius. That happens to be her name as well. And I forgot what I was even saying. So there you go. I guess that. Well, Kendi was saying that there has to be sort of that the roles do need to be reversed in discrimination. That there is a call that he is not calling for, but there has to be sort of a reverse in discrimination against whites on a certain level. Is that something that you would agree with? That there should be sort of a discrimination against whites?
I don't think there should be discrimination against anyone.
And you know what? I don't want to mix up the words. I shouldn't be
Yeah.
quoting Kendi because he's a pretty important figure.
But I
Ibram
get
X.
what
Kendi.
I feel like maybe what he's saying is like, if the shoe was on the other foot, there
Right.
would be more understanding of what it feels like.
Yes, and I think that's where.
I don't want to tell you the name of this book, and so let me just see. I think it was called Black Skin. Is this it? There's a book I read years ago when I was in high school, a very deep book about a white man who was I want to say he was like a therapist, or like he studied sociology. I'm not really sure. I can't remember all the details.
I understand.
But anyway, he went through a transformation somehow where like his skin became a little darker. He was doing something. I forgot what he was doing, but there was a whole book about his experience, about how people started to treat him in public as he started to get darker and darker. I think it's called Black Skin. It's a good book, man. And basically, like, he's breaking down the psychology of like how it feels to be a Black man in America. And obviously this took place also like in I want to say like the 70s, 60s or 70s or something like that. But he was saying how he felt so like he was having anxiety at the time. There really was no description for it. I'm sure maybe the word anxiety was made up. I don't know. I feel like no one knew it was anxiety, but he was just expressing this anxiety and fear and like anger to how people stopped holding the door for him. Yeah. People started to grab their purses, women, when they were walking by him. People started to throw, ugly looks and roll their eyes, and like, and literally he would dress the same. He had money, he would dress the same, he would have the same presence he had before, but he was being treated so much differently because he was darkening his skin. And granted, he wasn't becoming dark skinned, but he was just becoming more melanin with whatever treatment he was doing. But he wrote down all his, his studies, and like it was this big study he did about that transition to being the Black person in America, is what they would say. But it was deep how it mentally affected him. And that was a big part of his notation, was like, wow, I thought that maybe I might feel anger or maybe feel, frustration in public, but I never thought that once I got home in my house, mentally, how it would affect me. Yeah. The anger and frustration, he would still have the sadness he felt because people treated him so differently just because of the way he looked.
Yeah.
So that's a huge part of it.
Yeah.
That I think we're all very much aware of, and I think that might be what this this doctor is talking about, or professor is. If you put yourself in our shoes, it's a lot easier to understand what we're saying than for us to try to explain it to you. And it's just like, you know, I'm not from, let's say, I don't know, I'm not from Poland or whatever. I've been to Poland now. But like if they're like Polish people are being treated this way and I'm not Polish, it's like, yeah, that's messed up. But at the end of the day, I don't really know what that feels like. So I don't know, you know, what that feels like. And so it's like, yeah, I get it. When I see something wrong, it's like, well, I get it. That happened because this happened. They shouldn't have done this, but if this wouldn't have happened, that wouldn't have happened. Yet what I don't see is the other times before where nothing was going on and the people that are being, you know, discriminated against are not doing anything, or all the times those situations were dodged. And like my situations where there's been very simple times when I was in college, like I said, I was a party promoter, and we're driving to my party and we're getting pulled over in college in East Stroudsburg, which is like they're bored. The cops are bored. There's nothing to do but bother us. And it goes from, you know, us getting pulled over, like, yeah, we're college students, to like guns being pulled out on us. And it's like, it escalates so quickly for no reason. And it's like, yes, that situation was dodged, but the less situation as a whole that happens, the less times, you know, very violent things happen or very unfortunate things happen. So I think the whole mental thing is to try to get overall, like the idea, like your boy said, Eddie was saying, is the idea of this look of a person is bad, dangerous, violent. And again, that black on black crime stigma is so strong. When you say black on black crime, well, you guys kill each other all the time. But like a lot of people don't talk about white on white or Mexican or Asian on Asian. There's all types of crime, but they stomp this black on black in our head so that it's such a household thing, even in white houses, even in white neighborhoods where there's no black people, they're talking about black on black crime. Why? So now when someone's murdered and it's on TV, it's like, oh, well, I'm sure they probably thought that he was violent and they don't even know nothing about the man. They don't even know nothing about the people. And so like, it's a real big symbolism and just like back of the mind programming of what black is and when you see black person in your neighborhood, how to react, how to feel. You know, I don't feel away when I see a white person walking down the street in my neighborhood, you know? But even me as a black person, if I'm in an all white neighborhood, which I've been in before, and I see a new black person, there was times before I'd be like, oh, who's that? Like, I knew they weren't from there because I'd never seen them before. You understand? But I never say like, who's that white kid walking down the street?
Who's that menace? Who's that menace walking?
We are trained to acknowledge that this is bizarre, like, you know, and it's like, why do we feel that way? You know, all of us.
Yeah, and I absolutely agree with you. And I think we all have our own biases in certain situations, in certain contexts. And yeah, I mean, it is, I don't know. I really appreciate you talking to me about this stuff, and you know, I want to talk about your music because I'm really interested in what you're about to do. Like, where do you see going, especially coming off the success of YBM, and do you see yourself kind of taking on this message and keeping it going to sort of, you know, I'm not trying to say recreate the spark, but do you see yourself sort of taking this message and going further with it in your music, or do you just doing you?
I feel like, well, I've been doing this a long time. YBM just took off, but like I have a song called Burning Crosses where I basically express and identify systematic racism long before the term was created. I dropped that video in 2018. I directed that as well. I was still living in Philly at the time. And basically it was just like, it starts with an opening scene from 1958 where there's a slave, I mean, not 19, but 1858 or something around that time frame. And there's a slave being chased by slave owners. He's trying to get away. And then it like shows him running. It transitions to a boy running in 1958. and being chased by white men who were just chasing them with baseball bats, like looking for them. And then it transitions to a kid running in 2018 through the woods being chased by police.
Wow.
And so there is a constant repeat in our society, but with a change of title. And so now it's the police. Before it was maybe like back in the day, neighborhood watch or whatever, because I feel like we had a lot of that back then. And then before that, it was plantations, slavery, and all of that. But the Black man has been running a long time. And so I had highlighted that in that video, and it's from 2018. So a lot of people are also going back to that and being like, whoa, this was already out, but you know, and it kind of had a viral moment, but it was before TikTok. But it had a viral moment on Instagram.
Gotcha.
And again, my whole point of that video was to show systematically how we've been dealing with the same thing for a very, very long time. And prior to that, I dropped a video, a song called Kingdom, where I also talk about police brutality, but I also talk about violence in Black communities. And I also talk about, just lack thereof of unity, which affects all of these things. And so there's a lot of music by me that is much like YBN. That this is not the first time I've done it, because it's who I am. And so these are issues that stay on my mind. These are things that I think about that affect my friends, and not just my Black friends. I have white friends who've been, very, very severely hurt by police, who are of our culture, who are tatted up and dressed like us and swag like us because they're from our neighborhood, who also get profiled. So, I think that is my biggest focus. It's like not so much about just a color, but a culture.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Our culture. Like I said with YBN, the culture, the culture of hip hop and entertainment and rap and swag and dance and twerking and whatever, and how we kind of categorize what a criminal looks like based on that. And affect one race, like you said, it affects a lot. I see a lot of Mexicans get profiled in Los Angeles being here, Puerto Ricans in Philly and New York, and like white kids in the hood neighborhoods or in the white neighborhoods too, who are just more, from rougher neighborhoods, who move to the white neighborhoods in the Northeast or suburbs and get treated just like Black people do. So it's like, it's a culture thing as well. For me, I feel like more than ever. Especially with us mixing so much. Like you said, you have a Black kid, we're all mixing together. It's like now that we're mixing so much, it's not about just Black people.
Right.
Dante White wasn't just Black.
Yeah.
He was white too.
Yeah.
But he was treated in a way that it was profiled.
Eddie agrees. What you mentioned white folks from the neighborhood, swagged out and stuff. It just brings up the idea of cultural appropriation, and that's been a big thing as of late as well. What's your opinion on that?
What do you mean by cultural appropriation? As far as just like how the worlds are merging, just like like white people.
I'm sorry. I guess that was a poorly worded question. Is like, do you have negative feelings towards someone who might, I don't know. There was an incident at a college where a white kid had dreadlocks, and there was a Black young lady who was like, "You shouldn't be doing that." I mean, in that situation, in that kind of context where it's like, white kids wearing baggy jeans. Well, that's not even a thing. I just dated myself. It's like, but white kids dressing Black and all that stuff, and white rappers and all that stuff. In that context, how do you feel about it?
Well, I feel like people feel away because so much of our culture, I want to say we influence a lot. Black culture influences a lot of what's in and what sells as well. Like it's cool to look a certain way. It's cool to have a certain swag, and so I feel like there is a lot of our culture that has been kind of put on the forefront and like mainstreamed, just like hip hop music and rappers. But I have no issue with a white guy with dreads. So some of my closest friends in my life are white, or one's like Irish and Italian, one was straight up Italian. My boy Shiz, Sean Michael Neal, he was actually killed in 2013.
R.I.P.
Because again, his lifestyle. But he was a really close friend of mine, and he was a rapper, and he grew up in worse neighborhoods than me. I mean, he came up, let's be real, K&A, Allegheny, Kensington, Philadelphia is the worst opioid epidemic in the entire country. And it's
Eddie, thank you so much for that subscription. And can I just say, followed by Ohio, who is number 2 in the opioid epidemic. So
yeah,
neighbors.
really, terrible. They had a documentary on it too, and it's like these kids, the people who are a part of this opioid epidemic are white mostly. Most of them are white.
Yeah.
Huge, like largely 80% or more. And those people have children. And those children grow up, in difficult situations, and they grow up in our neighborhoods, and they grow up like us. Whether it's, just not with the same advantages of school, dealing with the same type of profiling, whatever, they grow up just like us. And my boy Sean, he grew up just like anybody else I've met from the hood. Tatted up rapper. Who am I to say he's not who he is? Yeah. Who am I to say he's not influenced by where he lives and who he lives around? Who am I to say that? Yeah. If he's being true to himself, I have no problem with that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I think more the culture appropriate problems come in when we see more like influencers try to do certain things that aren't culture appropriate, where it's like, oh, this person, a lot of people, for example, came at Post Malone, where it was like he grew up and they see like he growing money or whatever, and he had like little rock band where he was like super quirky and like it was like parody music, and then out of nowhere he got braids and it's like White Iverson, and it's like, wait a minute. Gimmick, and so I think that's more of what it is. It's like we don't want to be sold a gimmick. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Who I am, and trying to sell it on us because it's what works mainstream. However, if MGK is tatted up, that's just who he is. And he's kind of like, he kind of has our swag, but he's like a rock star too. That's who he is. That seems like who he is. And so I think that's where the issue comes in, is when people feel like they're being sold a gimmick. And again, that's a big part of the wake up from Gen Z. Just feeling like, they're being sold something,
Yeah, totally.
However, if I meet a stranger on the block or at school, I've met some kids in school, just like, I've met some white Jamaicans, like straight up white Jamaican. Like, everything about them was just like who they are. You know what I'm saying?
I played in the reggae scene in Southern California for a long time, so I got to meet and hang out and play with white Jamaicans a lot. So yeah.
Who are we to say that's not who they are?
Right. So you better stop talking like that guy from Jamaica.
How dare you?
Well, and I think that's where some of the frustration with people come in, is like, these people who are, I'm from Jamaica, or like the fact that white people have had dreads for thousands of years, because if you don't comb your hair, and you have white people hair, your shit fucking mats up and it stinks. Okay, white people dreads are stinky. They're nasty. I just want to say it. If you take care of them, I shouldn't talk like that. If you take care of them, they don't stink. But I dated a white girl with dreads. They stink. For now, so now white people dread stink forever now. But yeah, slightly stupid. Yeah. Shit. What's his name? I work with an artist under Slightly Stupid. Not Melvin. Shit. It's been too long. Yeah. I worked with an artist under Stupid Records. Anyways, yeah. White Jamaicans speak British English. Okay, fair enough. So then, do you have any plans for any releases coming up, or do you have any big plans like touring or anything? You got anything in the works that you want to talk about?
Of course, there's a lot going on this summer. I'm dropping my first album, and I'm just really excited to drop that. YBM's on it. Um, Do My Thing is also on it.
Nice.
So I feel like people have been waiting a long time for my music. I've been kind of holding out for a while. So, I'm excited to drop that. I have a new single coming out in a few weeks. I'll be announcing it next week.
Sweet.
Uh, and, it's going to have a visual to it that's also going to be very, we're going to focus on the evolution of culture of dance, hip hop dance,
Ooh.
and, dance in hip hop. So, I just want to highlight, I guess, back to what you were saying, just like the culture in general, where it's at and how it's become so diverse, which is beautiful. And so, yeah, I know YBM, I focused on at the end of the day, it was all about Black empowering being Black who we are and recognizing some of the issues that we need to fix day to day. But I'm very big on unity and diversity. My very best friend from when I was a little girl is Russian. She's Israeli and Jewish. And, my other boys, Irish and Italian. And then I got some other friends that are Black and Spanish or whatever. So I was blessed to grow up around a diverse group of friends. Yeah. And that also is a big part of where my disconnect is from a lot of people in middle America and down south where they are separated. Yeah. And they don't understand being around each other like we do. And, they don't get accepting certain things about each other. Like
I don't know. See now, I feel like you're talking a little off school. I know you're from the East Coast and that's kind of close, but I have to defend Middle America. And I thank you, Bambots, for the Mighty, you're so awesome. Let me give you some love. Mate.
Middle of America? Where have you been in Middle of America?
I live in Middle of America. I live in Ohio, but I lived in San Diego.
Middle of America, though.
Okay.
I'm talking about Texas. I'm talking about.
I like Texas too, but you're right. There are some backwards ass people there. I agree. There's some backwards people.
I'm talking about areas that are completely disconnected. Majority of them are just not cities.
Where the no-enter counties live, right? Yeah.
Towns. They're separated.
Yeah.
These are the people, some of the people that I argue with online, which I don't argue with them, I just block them. But the people who are commenting on my page, when I go to their page, they live in a small little town where they probably don't see that many Black people. Yeah. So all they know about us is what they see on TV and in the media. And vice versa. There's people from the hood who don't see many white people who've never been out the hood. And so all they think about white people is what they see on the media. Maybe they think all white people are racist, or maybe they think they're stuck up, or maybe whatever. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I feel like those are I didn't have to grow up like that.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I'm very big on unity. And I feel like a lot of what I learned in my life about life came from having so many different friends and so many different cultures around me.
Right.
Like I said, Jewish, Irish, whatever, these were my good friends. And they're still my good friends. Their kids are my God kids, So having that in my life and then kind of, like I said, going out to other places and going down south. Like I drove to LA, I drove to Texas, to Austin multiple years in a row to do tours and shows down there. And we would stop in Nashville. It's just totally different. We would stop in Tennessee. We would stop in certain places. And I'm like, whoa, the energy is kind of crazy.
I agree. It gets
and they would look at us crazy having a mixed group of people in the car because we have all my friends in the car. They're like, what are they all doing together? Yeah. And we got pulled over every single time. We were in the South. Every single time I traveled, I had a
similar experience. When I first went out to California, I was driving with my white ass dad and my nephew who's Black. And and we were eating in a Denny's, and these fucking sheriffs just took one look at us and started giving us shit. They were like, "Are you on drugs, sir?" Like talking to my dad. I'm like, "Yeah, he's fucking diabetic," and I almost got arrested, but because I will shit talk. That's my problem. I like to just keep it going because fuck them. Fucking pigs. Yeah. But again, not all cops are bad. But these assholes were assholes, and you could just see they were sniffing with their snouts. So they, but it de-escalated, and we drove away. But yes, I've had similar experiences in the South where if I'm with somebody who has a little bit of melanin, doesn't take much. Yeah, there's definitely been situations. But in defense of the Midwest, I know there's some slower, behind the times people here, just being involved in with it. But there is a hardiness, there is a realism here, and they're not, they are willing to talk. I mean, they'll talk your fucking ears off. Like, you can't ask anybody a question in the lines in stores, or else they'll just tell you their whole life story. You're there for 10 minutes, it's over. So it's really, I think with the Midwest and with the South, I think the problem is this coastal elitist mentality where people like yourself, and I had the same, trust me, I'm from Ohio, but I lived in San Diego for 13 years, 3 blocks from the beach, in one of the whitest neighborhoods in town. So I was inundated in that SoCal culture where people are just like, oh my God, the middle of the country, why is it even there? But coming back and seeing it, there is a realism. I think the biggest problem is that people feel overlooked here because of that mentality, that people just think that there's just a bunch of fat bumpkins who are chewing on corn cobs all the time. And your face, I loved your face. You were like, wait, isn't that what it is?
I have no idea what it is.
I know. But all I'm saying,
I just know.
But then here we are.
America is the people I argue with. I'll be like, what the heck? That's all I know.
Fair enough.
They're the ones who comment and harass me, and I'm like, what? Where do you live? Okay, why am I even arguing with you? That's the
sad
problem.
Boy.
What's up? See, Twitty, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
But like I said, I love people from everywhere at the end of the day. Like, Texas is one of my favorite places. Austin,
me too.
some of my closest friends
Love
here
Austin.
in LA are from Texas. But I don't really know many people in the middle.
Yeah.
I met a couple of people from Kentucky and like random places like that. They're all fine. Love them.
Good people.
However, they all also tell me things too and be like, that's why I moved away.
Yeah.
So these are people talking about their own homes.
I feel you. And again, like, we're behind the times out here, and there are some people out here who are
Ohio is very much East Coast, bro. I feel like Ohio is like, you're 6 hours from Philly. Like, you're not that in the middle, which is why you probably feel the way you do.
Well,
Ohio
I'm
is
very close
much
to Detroit. I'm 40 minutes south of Detroit. I'm very
It's just the
inner
city.
city. Cleveland, Chicago is a few hours east and stuff. So I see what you're saying, but I still get, again, like you don't like people making sweeping generalizations about the Black community, especially if they haven't experienced it. Well, the people in the Midwest don't like to have sweeping generalizations about them. And also, I'd like to add on top of that's probably one of the, no, let's not even go there. I don't even want to mention the Orange Man's name. Fuck that guy. But it's like, but yes, the people out here do not like that. I mean, the way that these politicians talk about them, and the way that they're, they don't appreciate that kind of rhetoric just as much as other people don't appreciate it either. Now, am I going to sit here and say that these people are my favorite in the world? Fuck no. Jesus Christ. But they're people, and I'm trying to live a life of compassion and empathy and understanding and gosh darn it, I'm just trying to understand these folks. So, I gotta stick up for them a little bit, but not too much. So lots of cool stuff coming in the future then, right? So you got a whole plan going.
Yes, good music coming. I had no idea what was going to happen when YBM happened. I'm happy it happened. I'm happy that people are touched by the music, and
I'm happy that that's out there.
We're happy to share it and help continue to push the awareness of a lot of these social issues. There's no right answer or wrong answer to how to feel about them. I think the bottom line is, if whatever's happening, if we can save lives, that's all we want. We're not saying it's going to be perfect. We just want to have less news stories like we've had, and more accountability to avoid these things on all sides. If there's more accountability, it doesn't just help the Black community. That's the thing that people aren't mentioning. It helps everyone. It helps everyone who deals with it. I see so many people also comment, well, white people get killed by cops, and white people deal with police brutality as well. I believe them, not doubting that at all. So I think the main thing for me is just being able to bring awareness to something where, look, if we can all stand together and try to figure out a way to fix this, which I think comes from accountability at the end of the day, then there'll be less stories like this for everyone, and everyone will feel better about it. Because it's exhausting.
Yeah.
It's exhausting
Yeah,
for
no, I'm
all of us.
tired just having this conversation. Not that it wasn't a good conversation, but
So
yeah, I mean, but yeah, I'm tired now. I'm gonna go eat and sit for like 20 hours.
And we're only still talking about it because nothing has truly changed. And so
That is
once
the
we start to
saddest
see
part.
laws,
That is the
yeah, the
saddest part.
laws, when the laws start changing, the conversations will start changing.
Hmm.
And then,
Well,
you know,
I would like to
we'll be in
think
a
I like to just, I mean, yeah, and just to end on a nice note, I would like to think of what's happening now as growing pains. You know what I mean? Like all this discourse is just
absolutely.
growing pains of people in light and coming into the light, understanding what's happening, understanding that there's history here, understanding that we do need a better outlook on our fellow human beings, and we just let's just try to treat each other nicely and with a little bit of compassion, a little bit of understanding, just a little bit. It goes a long way if you just give someone a chance.
Mhm.
So yes, thank you for entering the raffle. LG, you've given me so much of your time, and I so appreciate it. I had such a great conversation, and I appreciate you. You know, taking me to task and you know like pushing back because you know you're absolutely right. People do need to watch what they're saying. Thank you for those claps, Reina. I appreciate it. And you know, I tell the chat all the time, if you think I'm wrong, you fucking tell me. Because and I want to know why. Because I don't want to be that guy who's just out there going blah blah blah, you know, just whatever I saw on Ben Shapiro or whatever is that's one of my ideas now. You know, like that's not who I am. I like to look at things from a lot of different sides, and so I you know I appreciate you coming on the show and telling us your truths and how you see the world. And again, I am a big fan. I love the music you do, and I love YBM. And I just encourage everybody to go out. Make sure that you, here, I'm going to drop your links in the show, in the chat. Jeez, not the show notes. I encourage everyone to go to our Linktree, follow up. Go and I put YBM straight to the video. Go check out the video right now. It's amazing. Or after we're done streaming. Either way, or now, it's fine. But LG, thank you so much. And any last words before you go?
Thank you guys for having me. For all the new people who were watching, I couldn't see the chat on here, but you know, thank you guys for engaging and just listening. I do have a Twitch channel. It's Lgteamgenius. I'm hosting this right now on my Twitch channel, but yeah, I'll be on Twitch a lot more as well. Just doing a lot of like, you know, live streaming in the studio and cooking up. So maybe you guys will get a snippet of the next YBM style song or whatever's to come just in the moment. I like to do it. Freestyle on there for you guys and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a pleasure being here. And you know, I appreciate your questions and your views. And you know, the conversations aren't always fun, but when we keep the conversations going, you know, things start to change, things start to happen. So that's really all that matters. So I appreciate you being a vessel for that, for change.
Well, I appreciate you too. You have a wonderful rest of your day, LG, and blessings, many blessings. I'll
You
be
too,
in.
man.
All right, peace out.
Okay.
All right. Well, that was fun. Oh my gosh. That. Thank you, mighty buddy, for those claps. I appreciate it. You know what? I don't think I can do Cypher Deluxe today, but I am gonna do since it is. I am so I'm not displaced, but like that conversation really did put me in a different world, and that was great. I mean, that was great. And I like it. Again, I like to reiterate that I like it when people call me out on my shit. I don't want to be a fucking ignorant fuck just walking around spouting off whatever I heard on whatever I was watching the night before. That's not what I want. I want to be well-rounded. I want to understand. I just want to understand. So, I don't even have my sunglasses. How am I supposed to do this? All right, so here, 2 counterfeit 20s were presented during the trial. Where were you, Cartagena? Where the hell were you? Hold on. All right. Since it's Hot Boy Summer, I have no look. We're gonna do this. All right. Okay. I'm not gonna equate it to this, but Reina had a meltdown like a month ago on stream, and then I came in because of some rude shit in the chat, and like I'm here comforting her. She's crying. I'm feeling horrible because I just had to like watch my wife get, treated less than human publicly. And, like it put me in such a I was just so horrified. And then she was like, you have to do Hot Boy Summer. I was like, what are you talking about? I'm not going to say this is that moment. But I am going to say, it's been kind of hot outside lately. Have you guys been noticing? Now that it's summer, the summer sweat dripping down the small of your back. It's pretty hot, don't you think? I drink my White Claw while I buy my Bitcoin with my fighting bucks. I jam EDM while I rub one out to Joe Rogan's podcast. MMA. It's gonna be a hot boy summer. It's gonna be a hot boy summer. It's gonna be hot boy summer. It's gonna be a hot boy summer. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Pop Molly pills, drink muscle milk while I'm smoking my douche flutes. I hit on a girl that told me to put my shirt back on. Flex on a tray. It's gonna be a hot boy summer. It's gonna be a hot boy summer. Everybody, exclamation point hot. Exclamation point hot if you haven't entered the raffle. Exclamation point hot. We're gonna do the raffle right after this. So exclamation point if you want a raffle to win a Hot Boy Summer t-shirt. You wanna win a Hot Boy Summer t-shirt? Exclamation point hot. Dear baby Jesus, will you buy me a lifted truck? Dear baby Jesus, please, I need a lifted truck. Dear baby Jesus, buy me a lifted truck. Can you take my truck higher? It's gonna be a hot boy summer. 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 It's gonna be hot. Oh, it just started over. Okay. All right. While you guys get more, get exclamation point hot. We're gonna give the Hot Boy Summer t-shirt away right after this. I actually forgot I'm gonna do this too. Mighty Mighty, oh my God, Mighty Mighty, thank you so much. Hey, it's Friday. You're damn right it is. I am going to also play a video for you guys in case you missed it. Anybody who was here at the beginning, I played it right at the beginning in front of our guest, which is always humiliating. Ziggy, you did miss everything. It's okay though. What's up, Dex? Dex! I had to yell it. Okay, so anybody who entered on Monday, it's all gone. So if you didn't enter on Monday, or if you entered on Monday, and so just know that you have to enter again. I'm gonna play another thing for you guys. This is my present to you guys. Last night I went out to an open mic. I had to do some filming for a company, or for the homeless shelter, and I had to go film a cat at an open mic. So I decided to jump up on stage and do something special. Not 6 a.m. or anything. Well, you know what, Ziggy? What are you doing? Shouldn't you be sleeping? It's a weekend. Look, here, you guys gnaw on this and put exclamation point hot, please. If you guys want, it's basically Hot Boy Summer emo on a t-shirt. So I would pull up a t-shirt. But here, this is for you guys. So enjoy this. I did this for you. This isn't even public yet. So this is all for you guys. I go out and humiliate myself for you guys. Hold on. Let me make sure it's full. I did this last night at my friend Asa's open mic. So I hope you enjoy this little ditty here. Here we go. Let me take off LG because LG probably does not want to be associated with what's about to happen here. So let me take that off for a second. Goodbye. Okay. You received 1 ticket. Thank you, Ziggy, for entering. I'm very happy that you guys are entering. It makes me very, very happy. Okay, guys, this is for you, of course. Oops. Summer, I hope you guys enjoy. Okay, this song is called Hot Boy Summer. I hope you guys enjoy it. It is it's a song about being hot and a boy in summer. So I hope you enjoy it. It's been hot out lately, don't you think? Here we go, here we go. I treat my white claw while I buy my Bitcoin with my Biden bucks. I jam EDM while I rub one out to Joe Rogan's podcast. It's gonna be a hot boy summer. 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 Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Pop Molly pills, drink muscle milk while I'm smoking my douche flute. I hit on a girl that told me to put my shirt back on. It's gonna be a hot boy summer. It's gonna be a hot boy summer. It's gonna be a hot boy summer. It's gonna be hot boy summer. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Dear baby Jesus, can I get a lifted truck? Dear baby Jesus, can I get a lifted truck? Dear baby Jesus, can you take my truck higher? Higher! Higher! It's gonna be hot, boy summer. It's gonna be a hot, boy summer. It's gonna be a hot, boy summer. It's gonna be a hot boy summer. That's literally it. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for that woo. Your favorite today. Oh, I dropped my pen. Okay, guys. Amelia, welcome in. Thank you for the subscription and for entering the raffle. Now let's get into this real quick. Let me just show you. Oh, let's get that out of here. Why do you even do this? So we're gonna do the drawing right now, but I want to show you guys what is in store for you guys. So here, yeah. So some lucky winner is gonna walk away. I hope there's no like pertinent information on here. Oh, I got $3 pending. Yay! Shut up, Josh. I hate you. Sorry, guys. I have a thing against Josh. He constantly ruins my fucking threadless things. There it is. Okay. So, come on. Where's the shirts? Oh, here it is. So here we go. This, you guys can't see shit. This is what's up for grabs, everybody. This, oh my God. Okay, look at Josh. Look at him. He's ruining everything. Get out of here, Josh. Like, I don't know how to get rid of him. It's this thing right over there. You see it. Josh, you son of a bitch. God, I hate you, Josh. Hate's a strong word. I strongly dislike you, Josh. Okay. Josh is probably a great guy. He's probably real nice. Okay, so Hot Boy Summer is what we... Thank you. It's finally... That girl is pregnant. Who's pregnant? Talking about Carter Jean, what the hell are you talking about? Classic Josh. Exactly, Bonnie. Exactly. Reina can't touch that. No, not at all. Okay, so we're not playing. We're drawing the winner here. So, all right, here we go, guys. You know what? I even hooked up the stupid thing so I can do a drum roll. Yes! And I can also do this.
Welcome to We Speak English Good TV. I'm your announcer, Sir Ian McKellen. Now, please, put your hands together for your host with the most, Mike E.P.
That's me, everybody. That's me. Okay, are you guys ready to find out who wins? Should we come back? So there you go. Let's get... Yeah, you know what? I despise Josh so much, I can't even look at him anymore. I'm furious. Just absolutely furious. Can someone cancel me? You know, I'm going to cancel myself. That's not how you spell cancel. Nope, that's not it either. You guys are just like, can you just do... Thank you. Thank you, your favorite. Thank you to the people who can spell. All right, guys. Anybody want to get a last minute exclamation point hot in? This is your chance. If you've been lurking and twerking, exclamation point hot gets you a ticket in. So I'm going to let it go for a little bit. You guys got until the end of this. Exclamation hot, exclamation hot, exclamation. Okay. And the winner. Hold on. And the winner. Rogan. Yeah, Rogan must be on. Lurking and tricky. Okay, you know what? That's which sound? Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking. You're talking about Sonic dying. All right. And the winner of the Hot Boy Summer t-shirt is... Oh, wait. Do I have to close the entries first? Okay. Close entry. All right. And the winner is... C20!
Out in the street, they call it murder.
C20, you lucky duck. Hecka late, very hecka late. So C20, the shirt comes in many sizes. I will send you a... Thank you very much for that woo. I'm very happy that it's C20 who won today. Nothing against anybody else. But C20 has landed me a fucking awesome guest. So the minute you guys can land me the drummer for Jesus, I can't remember. Oh, the drummer for what's their name? God, I'm such... What's it? Butterfly? Ooh, my baby. Come, my baby. Come, my baby. Be my butterfly. Sugar, baby. Is it Ringo? No, it's not Ringo. It's what's the name of the band? Okay, you know what? You guys are just. I gotta go look on my own page. I gotta go look at my own shit. I'm gonna no stop. What? Dare? You know what? I eat Crazy Town. Thank you. Banana. Shut up. Okay, now you guys are just fucking with me. Yes, and how horrible is it that he still contacts me, and we still talk on Facebook Messenger like all the time. Like we're always like catching up. Charles Bradley Jr. is his name, but I can't remember what his what here's the thing. Here's the flyer for it. Please don't start playing. Okay, so yeah, when you guys can get me a guest, his name is not Charles, by the way. Did I say Charles? Oh my God, I'm such a dick. James Bradley Jr., who I'm buddies with, obviously, because I forgot his name. Fucking asshole. He has played with Nat King Cole, Anita Baker, Chuck Mangione, the Beastie Boys, Slash, and Crazy Town. Okay? So if you are offended that I said I'm glad that C. Twitty won, it's because C. Twitty brought the heat. Okay? You bring the heat, and I'll be glad when you win the next t-shirt. By the way, I love you guys, all of you guys, and C. Twitty, it makes me happy that you won, and I just appreciate you guys being here, and it's been a cool year, and I'm not going to go over like my life here or anything, because we're about to end, so C. Twitty, I'm going to send you a link in your Discord, or what's the best place to send, like Instagram or something, or what's the best place to send you a link? Definitely deserves his own Hot Boy shirt. Well, if James wants to get on TikTok, if James wants to get on Twitch and enter the raffle like everybody else, then he too can get himself a Hot Boy Summer t-shirt. I might, you know what would be really funny if I just sent James a Hot Boy Summer t-shirt randomly. He's just like, what the fuck? What the fuck's a Hot Boy Summer? Is that a person, Ziggy? Is that a person? A raid person? Or is that like a thing that you're saying that I just don't understand? By the way, everybody, you can go check out Hot Boy Summer right now. Do I have it up? No, that's how to enter the raffle, idiot. I don't know. Anyways, you guys can go find it. Okay, so C. Twitty, what is a good way to say? I mean, I'll just send it through the Discord, or you know what? I'm done. I'm going to send it through the Discord, and the Instagrams is absolutely the best way to contact me. Oh, but yeah, I don't know what that means. How am I supposed to? Is that like some like Korean app that people like? The Americans don't know about? Like, is that everybody? I'm still wondering. Nat King Cole. Yes, Nat King Cole. Oh, okay. Let me explain. Amelia, James, when he was a prodigy, he was a child, amazing drummer. And as a child, okay, I'll send it to you on Instagram. As a child, James got to go on the Ed Sullivan Show. I actually just want to show you guys because it's such a good video. I don't know. Should I do that? Yeah, who cares? So James Bradley Jr. is such an iconic drummer, and just his style is so great. Like he just has such a jazzy, like funky style. Hold on. Bradley Jr. Ed Sullivan. Yeah, widely used in Korea. Okay, cool. So, here's the Ed Sullivan Show. I don't know how much. I'm sure we'll get copyright infringement on YouTube for this, but so this is a whole sketch they did. So here's Nat.
Oh, well, have him come out, okay? Hey, Jim.
There he is. James himself. Oh, Jack Benny, not Ed Sullivan. I'm such a dick. It's the Jack Benny Show program. Oh, that guy, Jack Benny. Yeah, everybody knows Jack Benny.
This is your cousin?
That's him.
You say he can play the drums?
He's been playing them all his life.
No.
At least I'm
Look,
consistent.
Nat, I want to ask you something. What kind of a joke?
That guy.
How could you do such a thing to me? Here I am, seriously, trying about playing a number. I'm serious about this. A number with you, and you bring out this little kid. Now, look. Now, how in the world is he going to be able to play with us? You're going to make a fool of me in front of this whole audience.
By the way, his timing wasn't that great as a child. I'm just joking. But his timing was lagging there. But now he's on. Maybe. Yeah, I'm criticizing young James Bradley as a player.
Yes.
All right. Anyways, he does kill it. He does better. But check out his reach. Exactly. Goddamn. Look at that. Look at the concentration on his face. And he's just a child. What's Jack Benny gonna do? What's he gonna do? Be better, James. Thank you. Thank you. And guess what? Jack Benny wasn't that great of a violinist either. He was a much better comedian. Nat King Cole, my God, that man is a genius. He's stepping on his solo. Hold on, I do want to pause for the cause here. If anybody is a musician here, me thinks WSEG will hit the drums later. Probably, maybe. I'm actually still trying to recover from that conversation we just had. Like that was some real shit. That got real fast too. I was like, oh no, it's happening to me. But we saved it, and I just want you guys to know that she had a hard out at 4:30. Well, she was supposed to have a hard out at 4:30 for me, and she stayed on for another 35 minutes. So, just letting you guys know that that's a good sign. That's a good sign. Anyways, if you're not familiar with soloing, anybody when it's your turn to solo and someone who steps on your solo, it's called stepping on a solo. That's rude. It's considered a bad practice in music. It's like super rude to do that. I mean, you could do it as in jest and have fun with your friends if you're just jamming on stage and you're having a good time. But then if you're like seriously like, oh, it's your turn to solo and okay, I'm just gonna go nuts on the drums now, you know, like the violinist needs a solo and you're like, yeah, fuck them. Bah! Obviously they're doing it here because it's funny, but I thought I'd just point that out that was the joke, is that, which I'm sure you guys caught on. I'm sure Benny sucks anyway. Exactly, he's not a good violinist, but he's kind of funny. I grew up on this shit, man. My dad inundated me with like all this Jack Benny, Abbott and Costello, Three Stooges, fucking just swing music, jazz, blues, all that shit. My dad, it's all his fault. Okay, Amelia, I see you're coming for me today. So, yes, I did grow up on Ed Sullivan because there was a thing called Nick at Night. Okay? And reruns. And my dad, we would watch I Love Lucy. We would watch Dick Van Dyke. We would watch Mary Tyler Moore Show, which is more of the 70s and not like the 50s. And I think this is from the 50s or 40s. Maybe. Oh, no, it's the 60s, it says. So JBJ, The Honeymooners. Thank you, Bonnie. Thank you. Where he's constantly threatening his wife to like beat her. I grew up on that. What was his name? Jackie Gleason. Very, very funny, very talented actor, comedian. To the moon. Thank you. Domestic abuse. Yeah, domestic abuse is a hoot. Yeah. So yes, Amelia Ray. I did grow up on that just because my father, like, I didn't have a choice really. There was only so many TVs in the house in those days. So it was either you sit and you watch I Love Lucy and Ed Sullivan, or I don't know. I used to go outside as a child. I was just thinking about Minnesota Fats today. Oh, I've heard of them, but I'm not familiar with their music. Now who's the fraud? Mike. One of these days, Alice. One of these days. What I loved about the Honeymooners, though, was there was this bit that Art Carney used to do, and I know all the kids are excited to hear about the Art Carney bits from yesterday. But he used to do this thing where maybe I need to come over there. Where he used to he would be getting ready to write something or do something, and he would just be doing something like this. He would be like. And he like maybe Jackie Gleason needed him to sign some papers or something, and so Art Carney would be like, he had to wind up and like he just did this whole thing, and I'm not doing it justice because he was just such a great physical comedian, and then finally. Jackie Gleason was like, "Would you already?" And Art Carney would be like, and just get it done. It was very funny, very funny. Minnesota Fats was Jackie Gleason's character in The Hustler. That's right. Okay. I don't remember The Hustler that well, but I do know what you're talking about. I do know what movie you're talking about. He had that mustache and he was older. I have seen the movie because my dad, but I don't remember it. I was very young. Well, see, I wasn't doubting you grew up on Ed Sullivan. I was taking a dig because you called Jack Benny Ed Sullivan. Oh. So either way, you're taking your shot. This is payback, isn't it, for all the moisture that I put in your chat? For all the Slayer comments. This is my punishment. Play Slayer. Play Freebird. It's like, get a new joke, Mike. We all know Amelia doesn't like those word/artist, or at least doesn't like to play them. We get it. It's a joke. Running joke on her page. Keep just beating that dead horse, Mike. See, Twitty. Congratulations. I sincerely am so happy for you. All right, so whom are we going to raid? Should we just raid Wooby? Should I just raid Wooby, or is Ho-Ho on yet? Is Ho-Ho on? Who's on? I might just have to raid Wooby. Oh, Sean Paul's on. I don't really know him like that. That's Reina's homie. No, he's nice. I like him. Oh, Wander, the Duke. Black Girl Gamer. She's doing music. She's doing DJ stuff. We're doing Black Girl Gamer. I love Black Girl Gamer. About to go play some more Star Trek. That's a game. You can play it. Yeah, Ho-Ho's there. Is he on? I don't see him. Oh, yeah, there he is. Okay, we're raiding Ho-Ho. All right, well, tell Ho-Ho I'm coming. So we're going to go raid... and this is a good time. So, by the way, if you haven't heard Hot Boy Summer, go out and get yourself some. See Twitty, be expecting a link, and then you can just pick what you want. Just let me know, and I'll send it out to you. And then I'll be on Behind That Suit podcast, which we're going over right now to go check out. I'll be on their podcast. Let me look at it. It's not this Saturday, but it's next Saturday, but I'll get you a date. 24th, around 6 o'clock. So 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will be on Behind That Suit. So we're going to go right over to Behind That Suit, and I'm going to go pee and eat some food, and that I just have to. So thank you guys so much. What an interesting stream this was. If you guys, whoever missed it, go and just watch the VOD. You'll know when you see it. Mike was saying shit Mike's mouth is DJ Santos live is good too. Oh, right on. DJ Santos. Big up DJ Santos. Maybe next time Korea. Wow. Hey, Korea. Slow your roll. Happy Friday. Another wild one. Yeah, that was crazy. All right, we're going to go and check out Behind the Suit, who is a awesome music podcaster, rapper. He's here all the time for Cypher Deluxe, laying down the badass freestyles. And I just he's my buddy. Me and Holden actually had a pretty intense conversation. I'm sure the 27th we'll just pick right back up where we left off, because I always see him writing shit down here. Like, I know it's just driving him nuts. So he's just like, durr, durr, durr. I have different viewpoints than you. Which I love that so much. I love talking to people who don't think like me. I honestly do. It's just the way I function. It's why I'm like really interested by, like, never mind. I'm not going to say. See, I'm doing better. I'm doing things better. I'm not saying the things that just come to my mind and just blah. All right, guys. I'll see you guys over there. Get your raid calls. I'll see you guys on tomorrow with The Silence Noise. I'm going to be on Music Exposed at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to stream tomorrow doing live loops and, of course, Hot Boy Summer. I'm going to start streaming around 4:30ish, 5 o'clock. And then we're going to raid over to Music Exposed on the Silence Noise channel. So stop through. It's going to be a good time. And then Monday, I'm doing a music/podcast stream with JT and the Conspiracy. It's just going to be me and Jason. But we're going to play some songs, play some songs. We've never done it before. We're just going to try it. So I'll see you guys tomorrow, and I'll see you guys on Monday. I love you guys. Mwah. Say hi to Ho-Ho. All right, guys. Peace. Oh, I didn't even get my raid call. Shit. What am I going to do? Oh, damn it.